John!
What?
Red 7!
I don't know what Red 7 means.
Hot route!
I don't. What is hot route?
Will you just go stand on the other side, please?
Down! Ready, down, set, hut, 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 hut!
Hit me! Booyah! That's what we call a sacked lunch. Nom, 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 nom.
It's time for the Soonerscoop.com postgame show presented by Eskridge Lexus in Oklahoma City. Eskridge Lexus is the official travel partner of Soonerscoop.com podcasts. Now, here's your road crew, Carey, Eddie, and Bob, wrapping up all the action and reaction from this week's game.
All right, welcome everybody. We are live from Morgantown, West Virginia. I should say near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, as our flight. It is 3:37 a.m. in the morning. The Sooners have just finished another football game. We're happy to be here. You know why? Because this means we're almost home, actually. So we're up all night giving you guys the postgame podcast you love and crave, the Eskridge Lexus Postgame Podcast. I want to remind you guys, before we get started, Lexus is starting their December to Remember a week early this year. Now through the end of December is the best time of the year to buy a new Lexus. You'll be seeing a red bow December to Remember commercial all over TV as you're watching bowl games, as you're watching these big championship games coming up this weekend. But it really is the best time of the year to buy a car. They've got all the new 2019s out with special holiday incentives on top of the special Sooner Scoop price you will receive when mentioning you are Unofficial 40 or Post-Game Podcast listener. So get over to Ed Eskridge at Eskridge Lexus. We're not driving a Lexus this weekend. It's very disappointing, guys.
But we will next.
This SUV, I won't disparage any car dealers out there, but boy, life is a lot different when you're not in a Lexus. But you're right, we will be next week because we're headed down to Arlington, where because of what happened tonight, the Sooners are getting ready to play the Texas Longhorns in the Avengers game, I guess we can call it. Not a revenge game, but an avenge game.
I'm excited. That was a hell of an event this evening, and
can I just say one thing about the social media tonight? Is I'm running the Sooner Scoop account, and Bob is on Twitter. Bob, is it just me, or does it really seem like Texas fans were openly rooting for West Virginia? Like,
they were.
They don't want any part of.
They
of
really
Oklahoma
were.
again.
Why?
Because I don't think they want to play Kyler Murray
I
again.
think they felt they got lucky with that first one, and they didn't want a second crack. They didn't want to see this team once again. Now they beat OU twice in the same year. You're not going to hear the end of that for a long time. In recruiting too, oh boy. But just on pure perception, it just looked like they did not want to go through this offense one more time.
Well, that's sad.
Eddie's going to have some interesting things this week going on, I'm sure. Even though we found out you've been blocked by the publisher of our Texas site at Rivals.
Yeah, he's a huge pussy.
Okay, we're not talking bad about him. You can do that on Twitter on your own time, okay? I'm just saying.
He's a
it's
dead
gonna
man.
He's a ghost. He might be a ghost.
He is a ghost.
I did see him tweeting tonight, though. I can't say that I might not have subtweeted.
Jack needs to figure that out if they have dead people operating accounts out there.
Okay, let's get back to tonight's game.
Let's talk about the good.
Oklahoma beats West Virginia 59-56. Kyler Murray, very nice night tonight, 20 of 27. He did have a pick. He did have a turnover, a fumble, but 364 yards, 3 touchdowns. Oklahoma as a team tonight. Look, we can talk about offense all we want. The big story tonight is 2 turnovers for touchdowns by the defense. My God.
Yeah, at the most timely. It seemed like at the most timely points of the game, too, when they really needed them the most. To separate there before halftime. And then, obviously, the Curtis Bolton fumble return to put them back up 10 in the fourth quarter there. That was surprising, to say the least, for a team that hasn't been able to force turnovers this year. To get 2 and to turn them both into touchdowns was obviously huge. And, you know, it was such a strange evening, guys, in that I felt like West Virginia lived in 3rd and long all night, and they just happened to pick them all up when they got in there. I mean, the 3rd and 18, obviously, the touchdown to Gary Jennings,
yards,
the 52-yarder was kind of a backbreaker, and at the moment, or at the time, I thought, God, I kind of thought everything that I had said throughout the week was coming to fruition.
So many momentum swings in this game.
There were a ton. It seemed like there was every time that you thought OU was out of it, or they were getting West Virginia to let them back in the game. OU would come back, whether it be Marquise Brown, the 2 back-to-back catches there in the third quarter, which I tweeted them out. Those are 2 of the most unreal plays by a wide receiver I think that you'll see all year in back-to-back sequences. That was unreal to go from. I think that because wasn't that a third down?
It was 3rd and 10, and they just called timeout.
Kyler had a lot of third downs tonight. That were big.
Well, shit!
Pickups.
Look at the 4th down. They're on the 2-yard line and finding Ground Calcaterra in the back the end zone. So it was a weird game. Obviously, you saw what Oklahoma was going to do offensively, but. Can they build off anything that they did defensively? And I say that.
Are you going to go there?
No, I say not in that I think that they're going to come out and shut down Texas next week or anything like that, but just have some type of confidence going into a Big 12 championship
game. Can we just say this is how they win?
Oh, no, it is. It is.
Because, it's miserable watching OU football if you're expecting this defense to get any better.
Oh, yeah.
People were losing their minds, and I didn't feel good about it. I got in a fight with a guy on, because I said it was after it went 14-14.
Yeah.
West Virginia got the ball back, and I said West Virginia is only 75 yards from their next touchdown. And he
did not like that.
No, it was not a humorous moment, and I get it.
West
Virginia, he likes you, Eddie. By the way, he hates me. No, but people in West Virginia, going back to the Tony Jefferson, why am I losing my Tavon Austin game? Like that was the night when Twitter really, for me, I think that was kind of how Josh decided I can't run the Sooner Scoop account full time anymore. It was probably a smart choice on his part, but we had to talk. But, this game at West Virginia, fans lose their minds every year because it is insane. Tonight was insane. Tavon Austin was insane.
Yeah.
But
even when they get up big, West Virginia comes back like the year Crawford started going nuts on them in the second half.
It's not like this defense is going to be lights out next Saturday, but if they play with the effort that they played with tonight.
Come up with some plays like you did tonight.
They should beat Texas.
I think a lot of people.
The effort was definitely
lot of people, and probably not lose to Texas, obviously, but I think a lot of people, if they're going to go out there and run out an S show or whatever, they can live if you feel like those guys are giving it their all. And tonight you felt like that they definitely were.
They played hard. Yeah.
They played hard, and I think that makes up for a lot of the bullshit that they put themselves through.
Maybe Buki didn't play so hard.
Buki.
He had a rough one.
I'll tell you what.
We got stock up, stock down. We don't have a long show.
He might set a record. Yeah, we need to probably wrap this up early. Just saw Jason Kersey reported the Pittsburgh airport's a shit show at 3:30 a.m. and my flight's at 5:15. So we might need to get to the airport here pretty soon.
All right, let's go then to this because we don't have a lot of time tonight. It's not going to be a short podcast, but it's not going to be a long one. So here we go.
Eskridge Lexus is all about embracing the best. That's why they are the official travel partner of the Soonerscoop.com podcasts. So it's time for us to recognize the Sooners' best with our Eskridge Lexus Player of the Game.
All right, Eskridge Lexus Play of the Game. We told you about Eskridge Lexus, what a huge part they've been. We appreciate their support to put this post-game podcast together all year. I know it happened twice tonight, guys, but don't we have to say that Caleb Kelly is the player of the game because he was the one that started this? I mean, not only did Curtis Bolton also pick one off or pick one up and run for a touchdown, but Caleb Kelly forced the sack, stripped the ball, picked up the ball, and Eddie has fantastic video.
Got a great video of it, but I don't think people realize, and I saw somebody put it out on Twitter earlier, what Caleb Kelly does before he gets the sack and just tosses the offensive tackle to the ground, that was impressive.
I'll
give it up to myself as well for saying that he was the player to watch this week, but that's neither here nor there.
Talk with Caleb, and he said he's not even supposed to get that sack. He's just supposed to take the tackle out of the play, and it just happened to work out that he destroyed the tackle, that he could go after Greer and keep making the play there.
Look, I want to go back to the defense, but I think one thing that we do have to mention on offense, welcome back Marquise Brown.
Marquise Brown with his cousin Antonio Brown in attendance against the team that he would have went to if he didn't pick OU. It was down
West Virginia.
OU and West Virginia. He even said in post-game tweet. He dreamed of playing in Morgantown. He finally got that first chance. 11 catches, 243, 2 touchdowns. He was back to being the Hollywood moniker that he's made so famous.
He's really fucking. He was really
Eddie,
good. Sorry.
I don't have time for that tonight.
Well, just leave it in.
No
I didn't even
time.
say the full word. Sorry, folks. I use the F word a lot when I talk.
I was going to say something before the podcast, but I thought, no, he knows. We're going to get to the airport.
I just forgot.
They're fragile little minds.
Anyway.
Pray for me. It'll be Sunday.
We're going to pray. The other thing is, I thought this was big in the game, guys. CeeDee Lamb had another drop early, but Kyler Murray kept going back to him, and when they needed to convert a 4th and 5 late in the game, ballsy call by Lincoln Riley to go for it there and not play safe. Who does Kyler Murray find for the big
after 10 seconds of
God, he was back there. It seemed like for so long,
and I'm sure Tony Gibson's getting ripped for not putting any pressure on him.
I mean, I think that they tried, but there's only so much you can do against this offensive line. They are playing so well right now. Another game over 300 yards on the ground for Oklahoma, wasn't it? Over 300, was it?
Yes.
300 on the ground and 300 through the air.
304 total.
304.
It's just incredible. I sound like a broken record, but offensively, it's stupid what they're doing right now. It's not normal. It's not even.
It's because the offensive line.
They're amazing.
If they don't win the Joe Moore,
yeah, I put it out there this evening. If they didn't wrap that thing up tonight, that award should just be pushed away.
I agree.
But yeah, I mean, it was that fourth down was huge because if they don't pick that up, it could be a different ball game. I don't know if OU was. I was thinking the entire night that OU was going to get bit at some point for this defense and not being able to get stops when they needed to. And I'll be damned if they got out of the game.
They got out of it again
with kind of just the way that it's been for the last couple of years. There wasn't enough time.
Let's add this into it as well because I'm not even sure if we're talking about the player of the game or the play of the game right now.
The game is over. The stats are in. Now it's time to grab a Coop Ale Works beer and raise a glass to our play of the game.
All right, the Coop Ale Works play of the game. Again, thanks so much for their sponsorship and making this happen, the post-game podcast this year. Coop Ale Works, we're going to take you along to Arlington with us as well, which the Sooners secure tonight, a spot against Texas in the championship game. But the play of the game, I don't know, maybe would you rather give player of the game to someone else than give play of the game to Caleb Kelly?
Yeah, we could do that. The play of the game to Caleb Kelly and then an actual player of the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do that. Who do we want to give the player of the game to?
Brown.
Marquise Brown?
Hold on. Look, I don't know because, I mean, they still gave up 53 points, but the fact that they got the pressure in the first place, don't you think that had something to do with Neville Gallimore coming back today?
He did. I thought he played.
Up double teams
you know who
inside.
I thought also played pretty well was Amani Bledsoe.
He
I
did.
thought Amani Bledsoe had a really good game.
Actually, you know who we need to recognize? Because I have kind of ripped him all year. Trey Norwood had a good game today.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey,
it wasn't perfect.
The corners had their best game of the season.
I thought I thought Joe Duvall put it pretty well on Twitter. I saw Josh retweeted it. I retweeted it as well. Just as far as OU gives up almost 500 yards through the air tonight, or more than 500 yards through the air tonight. The cornerbacks probably played their best game of the year.
It's insane
what
Lincoln
to
Riley
say,
said.
It's insane.
Because what they were doing is they were putting David Sills on the inside. He wasn't really a slot. He was more like a flex tight end is what they were playing him as. So he wasn't the outside receiver, and what they were doing is they were getting him on a Buki early in the game. He gave two big plays there. Buki had a bad night.
They got to the point, and he's a freshman, whatever. They got to a point where he couldn't be on the field anymore, and they didn't let him play. What did you say? The last three series, Bob?
Yep.
I mean, he was a liability when he was out there today.
I mean, it just didn't look good. I mean,
it is what it is. He's gonna have to learn the hard way.
Had some rough moments as well.
He's going through a moment. He's going through a phase in his career right now, and it's only 12 games deep, but. There's probably a lot of reality check that needs to go on with him.
But that's who OU chose. They chose to ride with Turner Yell going down the stretch.
Look, this is not the podcast. It will happen eventually. But I just think you have to look at Buki, everyone else in the secondary. Those problems are going to have to be fixed with a new coaching staff when they come in.
Yeah.
Thank God we don't have to do the coaching search we're going to have to move on to this week. That'll be for another time. But, I mean, that is going to be the biggest challenge for whoever Lincoln Riley decides to bring in here, is rebuilding not just the schemes and things like that, but rebuilding the confidence in those guys in the secondary.
Yeah, some of those guys are just absolutely shot, and, good for them. Good for Parnell Motley, good for Trey Norwood, good for Trey Brown, who came up with some pretty big plays there throughout. I mean, honestly, the defense, and I'll probably get ripped for saying this, but they played pretty well on first and second down tonight.
No,
it was third down that just killed them. And
12 of 18, I believe it was.
Yeah,
so
12 of 21, I think, is what it finally was.
14 of 21 on third and fourth combined.
Third and fourth combined.
Yes.
It was. I mean, that was just
12 of 18 on third down conversions. West Virginia was 2 of 3 on fourth downs.
It was rough.
And
they
5
had
of
rough,
6 in the red zone.
Night. It was a rough night, but damn, the OU offense again. Every time they needed them, they came up and made big plays, and really it was, whether it be Kennedy Brooks or Kyler Murray through the air, or Kyler Murray early with his legs, at points they become unstoppable. It's like the only people that can stop them are themselves, unless they get behind the chains. And did OU have a penalty on the offensive side of the ball tonight?
They were pretty clean.
I don't think they ever had
the entire
hold.
game. They did not have a hold. I mean,
there was kind of I thought a BS call on Parnell Motley on the defense.
Yeah, that pass interference.
I thought it was a bullshit call to Trey Norwood.
On Trey Norwood,
on the corner end zone early in the game.
The most egregious offensive foul I saw tonight was the pick by David Seals in the end zone.
Yeah,
I mean, my God, that was bad.
That actually got called, right?
Yes.
That's the one that got
it
called.
wiped away a touchdown.
And that led to the fourth down stop in the red zone.
I was quickly notified on Twitter that wasn't a stop. That was a poor throw, and I said, "Sir, whatever makes you feel better."
Exactly.
I mean, David Sills did not have. I mean, there were some throws where I was kind of like, "Whoa!" Like I thought he was better than that. Like it wasn't like Taylor Cornelius bad, but he wasn't like as perfect as I thought he was.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Greer was still really good at times. The 4th and 18 throw to Gary Johnson,
3rd and 18,
or Gary Jennings was just that was
money.
That's a rip.
Yeah,
that is a rip.
All right, we've kind of glossed over players a little bit, so let's get right to it.
Whose stock is up and whose stock is down? It's time for the AMC Mortgage Stock Report. If you're on the move, check in with AMC Mortgage for all your home loan needs.
I have to start, I would say, with Caleb Kelly tonight. Stock way up for him, a guy that has battled to get on the field.
I hate being right so much.
I probably should have just gave that to you, then, Eddie.
It's just so weird because he still can't.
So good.
He can't be asked to cover in space.
No.
But he still finds way. He can
Well,
make.
Ruffin said that after the
plays.
game, like he made a mistake by putting him in space too much tonight.
This will be a big test for him again this week to redo it, because I think that he's going to have a lot of opportunities. I mean, we'll get into it on the unofficial 40 during the week, and I think Josh will agree. But I mean, they need to go in there and be physical this weekend down in Arlington, because they got their ass whooped at the Cotton Bowl, and it's happened time and time again when OU plays Texas. So we'll get into more in that in the unofficial 40.
Defensively, I mean, Mark Jackson was suited up tonight, but he didn't play.
I never saw him on the field.
I don't think he got
basically
a single
Caleb
snap.
Kelly, right?
Yeah. And they're kind of playing him as that Sam more than they were the Jack. They're not really using that as much anymore. I mean, they're kind of going. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at the film, but really they're using Ronnie Perkins and who am I leaving out? The other edge. I guess Caleb.
Yeah, that's what I was
okay.
like.
Yeah, so
yeah, because you got Kenneth and Curtis inside.
But that was the problem against Texas, is Mark Jackson couldn't set the edge.
Yeah,
they were just collapsing him play after
big
play.
week for him.
Any other stock ups that you guys want to throw out there?
Oh, I mean,
stock down Buki. I mean,
he was awful. There's no other way to say it. He was awful. I mean, he couldn't cover anything tonight, and a couple times it seemed like, I don't know, and I saw some people talking about it on Twitter during the game. it seemed like he was distracted by something before the snap, like he wasn't sure where he was supposed to line up or whatever it was. But I mean, it became a liability in the second half.
Yeah, there wasn't too much talk in the post game, and nothing really directed towards Ruffin because I was there for his press conference. But there was never really any direct questions other than being young and things like that in the secondary. But there was nothing directed toward Buki and his play and what happened and all of that stuff.
I almost feel like you don't think Ruffin will give an honest answer. So
doesn't like singling out.
There's
a freshman
no point to ask him. That's a question for Lincoln. Most likely Monday.
Well, we'll see what happens moving forward because, I mean, that's another area. I mean, I think the thing you feel good about coming out of this game, Trey Norwood played a big receiver pretty well for the first time. Now, I think little Jordan Humphrey is a different animal physically, but you got really good player. Trey Brown did some good things today.
They're going to be tested again this week.
Yeah.
I mean, anything that they did good this week, you can throw it out the window because – there's another test coming, and they got their ass whooped a couple weeks ago.
You finally got some confidence to build on. 6 pass breakups between Norwood, Brown, and Motley.
Sure.
Finally. By the way, I want to remind you guys, AMC Mortgage, Kyle McCord from AMC Mortgage, another fine sponsor of the podcast, a personal friend of mine. Look, if you're looking for a home loan, give Kyle a call, 405-623-3802. It's Kyle McCord with AMC Mortgage, NMLS number 125-6166, an equal housing opportunity lender. But check him out. He's done mortgages in this state for a really long time. He's done a lot of loans for some of my on-air colleagues. And they've been originating loans in Oklahoma for over 16 years. So they do it all, conventional FHA, VA, jumbo financing. They specialize also in first-time home buyers and loans requiring down payment assistance. So check out Kyle McCord with AMC Mortgage, bringing you the stock report all year long, 405-623-3802. Woo, well, we've got plane ride coming up here. We got a little bit more time here on the podcast, but guys, I just think we were driving back, and I think what I took out of this game tonight is, I heard people complaining about like I played with the alt uniforms. Like that was where they were born. Is when like Samaj P. Ryan's breakout game
sure was
with the alternate uniforms. By the way, I love their road alternate uniforms.
They're not bad.
I love the red pants and the white shirts.
They've slowly grown on me.
They're
I'll say that.
3-0 in Morgantown wearing those uniforms.
I think as a whole,
but just Morgantown, like this is a game that OU always comes into. West Virginia's always had a good year. Everybody says, okay, this is when somebody finally gets them, and this was their year to do it, and it just does. I'm just baffled. I'm completely shocked when the game is over, and I'm like, they did it again. I can't believe they did it again.
Well, I think as a whole, it's just one of those deals that, OU, obviously they lost to Texas, but it's become a situation, and particularly on the road with this team. I don't know what it is, but tonight was the 20th straight consecutive road victory. True road victory. I know that a lot of people get their panties in a bunch when you say, well, they lost it in Dallas or they lost in Houston.
Yeah.
To Tom Herman and the Houston Cougars. But, I mean, 20 in a row on the road. I don't care if it's in the ACC, in the Big 12. I don't care if it's in 6A Division II. Like, that's a hell of a streak. It's a hell of a mark. And outside of the Texas game, OU just wins Big 12 games. That's all they do is win the Big 12 games. And it's me and Nate Faker were kind of joking. It just it seems so common, but I think that a lot of people have kind of taken for granted.
Seems poor.
A little bit, maybe. And I don't know. It just seems like they just keep winning. Everybody kind of expects them to lose at some point, and obviously they might get beat next weekend down in Dallas, but they go into these big games, and particularly in conference games, and maybe the conference is just shit, and OU's just really good.
You know what, though? Baker Mayfield was very hateable, but as a team, this was OU's most hateable team in this run because they have so many young guys that don't know what they're doing and talk so much shit.
Yeah.
And they don't back it up, and they still win.
And they still win. It's like they
it's
need
like if
to be
Baker
punched
threw
somebody.
5 picks a game and he never could get beat.
I thought tonight was going to be the night. I thought tonight was going to be the night that the defense finally catches up with them. They're going up against a really good offense. And then this defense gets 2 touchdowns? Are you kidding
it's
me?
Greer that cracks just a little bit.
Are you kidding me? I just after the Bolton return, it was just like, well, that's just what they do. And OU wins road games.
And that was just, the Ronnie Perkins sets it up, man with the hit, Bolton recovered. That's the whole defense coming together for one play. Finally,
I gotta say this. They've gotta figure something out for Mann. I mean,
that's his first sack of the season.
Yeah, he's become so ineffective. In Ruffin talked about it after the game that he has to play every single play. And it in the middle of the third quarter,
wearing
he's
him down.
Spent. He has nothing left to give.
He's not an oboe that can go 80, 90 snaps. He's got to get time off.
At least Gallimore's getting switched out. I mean, he's got Fa'amatu and he's got Overton that come in. Bledsoe's getting switched out.
Tyrese Lott.
He's got Tyrese Lott that can come in. They've got to figure something out. They've got to develop somebody behind him.
Okay, because I thought Isaiah Thomas would kind of get into that role, and that is not materialized.
By the way, Caleb Kelly, your leading tackler tonight, 14 total tackles. Kenneth Murray and Curtis Bolton tied for the second most on the defense with 10. But Caleb Kelly a sack. Kenneth Mann, as you mentioned, a sack. Ronnie Perkins had a sack tonight. But the forced fumbles, Caleb Kelly had one, and then Kenneth Mann had the other one. Both of those returned for touchdowns. And then breakups in the secondary. Here's some interesting stats. Trey Brown had 3 tonight. Trey Norwood had 2. I bet if we went and looked it up, that's the only time all season that they've had 2 guys with multiple pass breakups.
And once again, it's Brown. We talk about him having 4 in one of those games. Now 3
9 pass breakups.
I would think there's a very good chance of that. That is the first game with multiple pass breakups for 2 guys.
I mean, you felt like the secondary played well. At least the corners played well.
They did. It was the strangest damn thing ever.
Here's your pass breakups: Caleb Kelly, Robert Barnes, Delarian Turner-Yell, Trey Brown, Trey Norwood, and Parnell Motley had 1.
The Barnes was batted at the line of scrimmage, and Turner-Yell dropped that pick as we were walking down.
Oh, I didn't see that.
It was so bad.
It was tailor-made.
It was so bad.
Just catch the thing.
Oh, they've had so many of those this year. It seems like where it hit him almost in the bread basket.
Oh no!
And I thought Norwood had one earlier in the game too. On the far,
he didn't fight for it.
He didn't fight for it.
He's not strong enough to get that.
He was in position to catch it, and he bobbled it.
And then the other guy took it.
As he bobbled it, the receiver took it. I don't know if that was Jennings or.
I'm getting reports from my buddies text messaging me during the game that said that after Turner-Yell drops it, West Virginia goes in to score or whatever, and they show the sideline, and I guess he was being consoled by Cooks, and he's like crying on the sideline.
Turner-Yell was?
Yeah, because he dropped it kind of soft, but he'll learn from that. I mean, he's a freshman. He's getting a lot of experience right now.
Yeah, and he's been hurt all year, and
I know,
he's finally coming back.
He played his 5th game, so he's officially done. After not playing last week, I was wondering.
Pretty impressive after missing the first
6.
He
missed the first 6 games.
Jesus.
He's played 5 of the last 6, so he's officially out of the redshirt talk.
I felt kind of really bad
standing on freshmen for a long time.
Standing there as the game was ending because Tim Kish's family came up and gave him a huge hug.
They did.
Carey Cook's wife was there, and she gave him a huge hug.
Diaco.
Oh, I think that we're probably being a little naive if they – I don't know if they listen to the podcast and stuff.
Okay, wait, hold on.
They definitely know that we've been shitting on them over
do you think it's more like they think that they're saving their jobs by winning the Big 12? Or
no, I think it's more of a –
we're proud of you. You've been getting a lot of shit
we're
from
proud
everybody.
of you. This is kind of the
we
last. We
love you.
This is the last stand.
This is your last stand type thing. I would probably we'd be a little naive to think that they're coaching for their job. There would be a lot of really unhappy people if that was the case.
Eddie, you can talk about it. You said Lincoln Riley was interacting with who?
Shane Beamer. I mean, on the sidelines, they interact a lot with each other. I got some good video I'll put up on the board.
By the way, a little strange seeing Dorsey down on the sideline pregame.
I never saw him. I saw that we tweeted that out, but I never saw him before.
He was over in, I can't even remember what. I would imagine it's the North.
Was he wearing the Browns sweatshirt?
No, he wasn't. He was wearing
that's probably why I didn't
big
recognize
old khakis and like white dad tennis shoes.
Oh,
probably
yeah,
the Air. What are those Air?
I bet they're New
Balance. But it was definitely
Come
him.
with the white dad
He had
starter pack.
He had a couple of young guys, like young executives, like they're trying to get in the biz probably, like interns, like following his every move and stuff. But like right as OU went into the locker room, he came off the field and probably, I don't know if he left or he probably went up into a suite or something like that. But yeah, John Dorsey sitting there just looking things over. And he wasn't talking to Lincoln. I don't think he can talk to Lincoln Riley. I think it's an NFL tampering issue if he did. But there were 5 NFL scouts.
Should we start
at
something that said that he was? So
I think what we
can't
tweeted
go,
out.
interview him.
I think what we tweeted out was enough, probably, to get it going.
Did that blow up on social?
It didn't get like Adam Schefter or Ian Rappaport retweets, I don't think, but it blew up pretty good. There were a lot of funny replies, which made it worth my time. I didn't really care about. I didn't want to get like 2,000 retweets because that does us nothing. I mean, just gets a bunch of follows from people that we don't care, that don't care about us, or we don't care that they're following us. But it was interesting seeing him there after seeing him on Hard Knocks, knowing that he's Baker Mayfield's GM. So anyway, guys, moving on to Arlington next week, maybe a little mini preview here. But Sam Ehlinger, I mean, he seems to be healthy. Played most of the game. He did 24-17 against KU.
He had a
today.
rough day with a couple picks.
They got out early, kind of let their foot off the gas. KU came back
7-0 at halftime, then 21-0 in the fourth. Ends up 24-17. I don't know.
God, I mean, surely they can keep Texas to underneath 40 points. Surely.
They didn't the first time.
Of course, they couldn't keep Kansas under 40 points.
The last 4 opponents have scored at least 40.
I'm doing this to myself. I don't want to. I'm the one that came on the podcast and said, just stop expecting anything.
Exactly.
Because you're making your life miserable.
If you love the effort tonight and they bring it in Arlington, the Sooners will win.
Okay, so tomorrow's another day.
Pretty pathetic when the effort's something that's like, they
did
played
it.
hard tonight.
They played hard.
They played great. They played hard.
Had a couple picks for touchdown, or a couple of fumble returns for touchdowns.
That's what your parents used to be excited about during Little League.
Yes,
you played hard tonight, Johnny.
We stayed in a hotel last night with Little League hockey players everywhere. It was
dreadful.
Not fun. They were shooting the puck outside my door. Like, I was already up, so I didn't really.
Yeah, I heard that there was some kids warming up in the hallways this morning. We'll save that story for the unofficial 40, but I will say I cross-checked a kid into the pool last night.
That would be
Then
right
I
up your
banged his
alley.
mom.
Little hockey play. Okay. All right. We had to get one in. We are going to be headed to Arlington. Our final, regular season. I guess it's postseason. But here's the thing. A lot of games coming up tomorrow. I don't expect Notre Dame to lose to USC.
No.
You think the Buckeyes can take Michigan?
Probably
Yes,
not, but
I
I
think
think
they
they
can. That's the best
can. I don't
chance.
think that they will. I think they can, though.
The thing is, those Ohio State people are lathered up if they win that game. They
About-
think they should
about
pass
jumping.
OU.
Yeah.
I think they're too far back right now. I really do.
Washington State lost tonight.
Yeah, that was, I guess, good. I don't think Washington State was ever that much of a threat to pass OU, though.
They lost to a bad USC team.
They lost to a bad USC team, and the Pac-12 is just...
They don't have any quality. Their resume's not
I look
good.
at the Pac-12 the way the rest of the country looks at the Big 12.
Of course, Ohio State doesn't have a great resume either.
No, you look at all the statistics, you look at all the analytics and all that kind of stuff. OU's better in every category except for, obviously, the defense, and Ohio State's defense is awful.
It'll be interesting to see.
OU would put up 50 on Ohio State.
What the committee does to Army this week.
Yep.
What they do to Iowa State, what they do to West Virginia, what they do to Texas, all of that
Will
really is going
Texas
to
be
impact
in
OU.
the top 10? Will Army sneak in?
Yeah.
Valid questions.
How far does West Virginia fall losing 13th and now losing 2 in a row?
18?
By the way, you talk about the defense, and you can kind of take some good out of it, even though it was a shit show. This is West Virginia's best season in the Big 12, and it ends so horribly. They lose their last 2 games. But I think we're going to be standing here after next week and say West Virginia was the second-best team in the conference. Because I think OU's going to beat Texas. I feel pretty confident about it.
I think we all said that Wednesday,
Would you feel that
right?
way if they hadn't lost earlier in the year?
If who hadn't lost?
OU.
like I'd somehow feel some kind of worry, like the revenge factor.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or do you just think OU's a better football team?
I think OU, all the problems they've had with motivation, this is one where they won't.
Oh, well, I would hope not. They're
this.
playing for the Big 12 championship. And if
Plus they get an extra
something
day
were
to
to
prepare.
happen tomorrow, you're playing for a spot in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Going up against Bama.
Possibly.
Although,
and a return trip to Jerry World.
let's say Michigan loses.
Okay.
That puts a lot of pressure on OU too, though.
Sure.
For a young team, a
Sure.
young defense.
You want that.
Isn't that what they've been playing for, though?
It's the only
all year?
way. Yeah, it's the only way you can get there.
I'm just saying it adds an interesting element. If they know they're
I think
playing
it'd
for a spot in the playoff.
Yeah, I think it'd be great.
All right. Well, I know it was a shortened podcast, but we really have to get out of here and catch a flight. So glad we could bring it to you.
4:12 in the morning, folks.
4:12 in the morning. Our flight leaves in
2 hours.
Less than 2 hours.
6:05 or something?
6:07.
Yeah.
We got to hit the road.
So we got to get a rental car turned back in.
'Cause I damn sure ain't going to be here past 7 a.m.
I might get this uploaded in Chicago. I might get it uploaded before we leave. We'll figure it all out. So
How fast we get through that security line?
So guys, I really appreciate it. It's been fun.
Gotta go.
We're almost home, and we'll see you guys on the next edition. This will be next week. We'll have a post-game show after the Big 12 championship games, with the Sooners will play the Texas Longhorns. They'll meet once again for all the marbles in Arlington, Texas. Until then, thanks for listening to the Eskridge Lexus Postgame Podcast.